Hello and welcome everyone to a video that has been much requested recently. It is the rules video. We're just going to talk about the basic rules of the game. So if you're already a player familiar with Gundam, maybe this video won't be for you, although maybe you'll learn a couple things. But this is geared more towards new players to try to learn the very basics of the game. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over the playmat, we're going to go over the anatomy of the 4 different types of cards, and we're going to go over the basic turn flow. And then we're going to jump over to a different screen and look at some of the keywords in the game. And so hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a good basic idea of how the game works and what the cards do and all that. So let's just jump into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the playmat itself. And thankfully I have this nice one from the world premiere that has all the different areas laid out. So at the beginning of the game, what you're going to do is first set up your shield area over here. You're going to put an EX base, which has just 3 HP, just a little bit of hit points if your opponents blast you before they start hitting your shields. And then we're also going to put down 6 shield cards. So this is essentially your life. Once these are gone, one more hit will eliminate you from the game. So you take 6 hits, and then the 7th hit is what kills you, basically. So normally you set the shields out after drawing your cards and mulliganing and everything like that, but we're just going to go ahead and do that right now just as a demonstration. So this is your shield area. You've got your resource deck area as well. You end up with a deck of 10 resources. These are kind of special ones that have the different symbols from the shows on it. So ignore the symbols. Just think of this as a blank card that says 1 resource. This is what you use to pay for things. You set that here at the beginning of the game, and then each turn you flip 1 over, and then you have that to spend. So over the course of the game, as your turns progress, you'll have more and more resources to spend. And if you go second in the game, you end up with what is called an EX resource, which is just a temporary one, which for some reason is not sitting on my desk right now, but I'll grab that in a moment. Hold on. Bing! Here's an EX resource. So if you go second, after you determine who goes first and second, you get to start with an extra temporary resource. This is a one-time use thing, but it is important as, it will get you to higher level faster. I'll explain what levels are in a second. So for now, we're just going to set the board up as if we are the player going second. So here's our 1 resource for the turn, and here's our EX resource that we got from going second. Now, a lot of decks also need tokens. These are just sort of units that are generated by other cards. These don't go in your deck or anything like that. They're usually weaker. They usually don't have any traits that are meaningful, like link things or anything like that, but they'll sit over there. So now let's take a look at the anatomy of the cards themselves. We have base cards, which we'll put there for a second. We have pilot cards. Well, we'll have command cards as well. We'll get to that. We have cards that are hybrids, which we'll talk about last of all. We have pilots, and we have, there we go. And finally, mobile suits. There's Char Zaku too. So you've got 4 different types of card in the game, and then 1 card that's sort of a combination of 2 of them. And we'll get to that last, like you said. First of all, let's take a look at base cards. So base cards and all cards in the game, the first thing you're going to notice is that they've got a level and a cost. So the easiest way to explain it is that level is the amount of resources you need to have in play to play the card at all. And then 2 is the amount of resources. The cost is the amount of resources that you actually have to turn sideways and use to pay for the card. So for instance, this one requires that you have at least 3 resources in play, but you only have to spend 2 resources to actually play the card. So that means if we were in this situation with our EX resource and our 2 other regular resources, we could spend the 2 resources to play it and then save our EX resource for later, but we would need that out there to have the 3 resources, right? So base cards, now getting back to the specific type of card, when they're played, they get played in the shield area. So say you don't have anything at the moment, you can see it says base right here, they get played there. They offer HP to protect your shields. Your opponent basically has to destroy them before they can start hitting their shields again, hitting your shields again. And then they usually have some sort of effect. In this particular case, it has a one-time effect. It says if it's your turn, deploy 1 rested Char Zaku 2 token unit. That is this one right here. So you get to just put one of these out on the board for playing this if it's your turn. And then all shields also, or all bases also have on deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand. So when you would play this, you would actually take 1 of your life, aka your shields, and put it in your hand. Now, that might seem scary, but that's actually okay, because each one of your shields only takes 1 damage to remove, right? So essentially you're replacing a 1 HP shield with a 5 HP shield. So that's good, right? Away a 1 HP life with a 5 HP life, and you're getting to draw that card. Getting into the shield area just a little bit more, when you take damage here, you reveal the top card, and if it has burst, like this particular card does, you do what it says. So the burst for many bases is just to deploy the card. So if you take a damage and the shield you flip over was this one, you would just deploy it right away and then do what it says, right? If the card revealed from the shield damage doesn't have burst, it just goes right to the trash. So that's something to keep in mind, is that it's not like One Piece. You don't draw the cards that you take from your life damage into your hand automatically. If they have burst, sometimes you do. Many pilots, such as Char here, has burst, add this card to your hand. But most cards, when they get hit in life, will then just go to the trash here. So keep that in mind. So anyway, here's our base card. We'll just put that right there. The second type of card I want to talk about is the command card. Again, they have a level and a cost, like all cards in the game do, that aren't tokens. This one does happen to have a burst card, so if it ends up in your life and your shields and they hit it and you flip it over, you activate the main effect, which is choose one enemy unit, deal 2 damage to it. So pretty simple. Now, the windows to play command cards are important. Main just means basically during your turn. So anytime during your turn, outside of combat, you can play this card for its main effect, your main phase, basically. Action is a specific window on your opponent's turn. It's either during combat on your opponent's turn, say they attack you with something, you have the ability to play command cards that have the action icon on it there. And then the other time you can play command cards with actions are at the end of your opponent's turn as well. So action implies you can play it on your opponent's turn, but only during those specific windows. Main means you can pretty much play it anytime on your turn. But command cards are your single-use spell type effects. I'm going to swap these around in order here because we're going to take a look at mobile suits next. This is sort of the bulk of your deck. This is what you're going to be doing most of the stuff you're going to be doing in the game with. They have a level and a cost, of course, and they have attack and health. So attack points, AP, and hit points, HP, or health points, whatever you want to say it. If there is card text, it'll say it here. Some cards do special things. For instance, this one does something special when it is destroyed. Cards also have traits. You can see this mobile suit is a Xeon trait. And then some mobile suits, not all, but some, have a link, right? And this will either say the name of a specific pilot. In this case, it's Char Aznable, or it'll have a trait. Some Xeon suits will link with anybody in the Xeon trait world, right? But the important thing with link units is that if you play the matching pilot on the link unit, it can attack the turn that it comes into play. Normally, you play, I'm going to move these out of the way here. Normally, you play a mobile suit on your battle area, and it can't attack the turn it comes into play. But if you play the matching pilot on it, which we're going to take a look at right now, here's Char Aznable himself, then you can. So pilot cards, as you can see, they do have their own stats, but these are stats that they add to the mobile suit that they are attached to. And to do that, you just slide it underneath the mobile suit on the board. And there you go. The damage lines up quite nicely. So you can see now it is a 4/3. But Char also has abilities that come along with it. So we're going to look at that a little bit closer here. On attack, that's what the little attack box says. During this turn, this unit gets attack power +1, and if it is a link unit, remember we just talked about that, it gains high maneuver. And what the high maneuver keyword does is make it unblockable. So if your opponent has mobile suits with the blocker keyword on the other side, they can't stop you from getting through and hitting things. So that's pretty good. And this is a pretty good combo just in general as an aside, because on attack it gets +1 AP. That would bring it to a total of 5 attack, which is enough to kill most bases in the game in one swing, which is a good thing to do if you can. So the crux of the game basically is to play mobile suits, play pilots on those mobile suits. Ideally look for the link units so you can attack right away. Regardless, pilots are going to provide stat buffs, which just makes your mobile suit stronger when you're talking about fighting. And then you've got your command cards as well to do these one-time effects. Now, I did mention these hybrid cards. We do have some of these that are command cards, but also pilot cards at the same time. Now, when you play these, you have to choose. Am I going to use it for its command text here? Or am I going to play it as a pilot, right? Sometimes, like Angela Salper does have a matching mobile suit in the deck. This is the Zeon's Rush starter deck, by the way, that we're taking a look at. But you can also just play it during your main phase or during action windows on your opponent's turn to just choose a friendly unit and give it attack power +2 during this turn. So you can play it as a one-time effect, or you can play it as a pilot on a mobile suit like any other pilot. So there are these hybrid cards that kind of bridge the gap between the command and the pilot card types as well. So there you go. Those are the basic 4 card types, and then we have the one hybrid card type as well. Now, let's just go through a basic turn and talk about the order of operations. So let's reset a little bit. Let's just make this into my hand for the moment. We're going to just put this in my hand as well. Put our EX base back out there that we started the game with. And let's pretend that we've got our EX base out, and let's see. And we're going into our 3rd resource turn. So what we'll do is let's just leave our EX resource out. Let's say it's our 2nd resource turn. I'm not saying this is going to be a good play, but this is a play you can theoretically do just to give you the idea of the turn flow. So the first thing we do is draw a card. You always draw a card at the beginning of your turn, then add 1 resource from your resource deck to your resource area. So in this case, now we have 2 resources, and we have our 1 single-use EX resource. We drew into a Angelo's Gira Zulu. So remember we talked about that hybrid command and pilot card? Well, here we have the matching pilot for this one if we want to play it a little bit later. It is level 4 though, so we can't do it this turn because remember, we have a total of 3 resources out, so we're at level 3 right now. So we can play any card that's level 3 or lower. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go ahead and play Sharzaku 2. Level 3, cost 2. So I'm going to spend 2 resources to pay for it. We're going to put it out there. And then, because I'm feeling a little bit on the saucy side, I'm going to burn my EX resource to play Shar Aznable so I can attack this turn. Now, some people I get a little bit tripped up here because they say, well, if you spend your EX resource and it goes away, then don't you only have level 2 now? And so wouldn't you not be able to play this pilot? And that's a logical question to have, but it's not the case because of the order of how cards are played. So the first thing you do when you play a card is you say, I'm going to play this card. I'm going to play Shar Aznable the pilot. And so the game asks you, okay, you want to play that card? What is your level? Right now, our level is 3. We have 3 resources out there. And then it says, okay, level check is good. So now we have to actually pay for it. And so after the level is checked, that's when you actually spend the resource. So I would spend the EX resource, it would go away. And now even though I'm back down to 2 resources, the level check happened before the payment happened. So I can still go ahead and attach it and then attack the turn that it comes into play. So to attack, you turn your mobile suit sideways and you do that damage where you desire. You can attack your opponent's mobile suits if they are rested, and you can attack their shield area anytime. But remember, if there's a base in the way, you got to hit the base first. So, say I attack in there and imagine my opponent's side of the board there, say they lose 1 shield, or say, pretend they don't have any bases out. Say their side looks like this, and I hit them for 5 damage here. Now, that doesn't do 5 shields of damage. That would be crazy, right? Each attack is absorbed by 1 shield. So I would do 5 damage, and that would take out 1 shield. 1 attack per shield, basically. I'd flip it over in this case, and I'd say, oh, bummer, no burst. So this goes to the trash. Yeah, if I was the opponent in this case. And now the other thing to think about is that I am vulnerable on my opponent's turn. They could attack back at me. Now, let's say they attack back at me, but they don't do 3 damage. You can see I've got 3 health total here. Let's say, maybe they just do 2 damage instead. Well, in this game, damage is persistent, so what you would do is usually use these dice, and I would put a dice with a 2 on there to show that this unit has taken 2 damage, and it just is going to stay that way. It's either going to stay that way until I take another damage and the unit dies, which in that case, both cards would go to the trash, or it's going to be healed. There are units in the game that can, or cards in the game that can heal damage off of units, so the big thing to keep in mind is that damage is persistent, which means sometimes you can go 2 for 1, right? You can take out 2 of their mobile suits and only have to use 1 of yours. So trying to force that type of trade is a really good part of the game. And that's kind of the general turn sequence. You play mobile suits, you play pilots, you attack, you play command cards when you can, and you try to reduce your opponent's shields to 0 and then hit them 1 final time to win the game. Now let's jump over to another screen and take a look at all the keywords you might encounter in the game. Okay, here we are on the official Gundam card game website, and I gotta say, like, if you don't have this bookmarked, you really should, because they have probably one of the best laid out, just frequently asked questions, rules searches, kind of things of any card game I've seen. So they really do make it easy to learn the basics of the game, and also just go back and check some of the rules on the fly if you're in the middle of a game too. So that's what I'm using here, just because it's the easiest way to have it all laid out. And I just wanted to go over keywords really quickly. These are going to be terms that you see in a little white box on many of the cards in the game. So we're just going to go ahead and click on this. Let's do that. So repair is the first one. I'm just going to hover over it instead of actually click on it, because we don't need all the detail rules right now. I'm just going to give you a basic breakdown of all the keyword effects. So repair means that at the end of that turn, that unit heals that much damage. So let's say your unit has repair 2, and you took 2 damage over the course of the turn, but it wasn't enough to take out your mobile suit. At the end of your turn, it will heal that 2 damage back. Or if you've taken 3 damage, it'll heal 2 of it. So repair just heals that amount at the end of the turn. Breach is a very cool keyword. Breach has a number with it. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is. And what it means is when a unit with breach attacks and kills an enemy mobile suit, it will deal that much damage, the breach number, to the opponent's shield area. So either their base card first if they have a base out, or just directly to the shield. So breach is a neat way to take out your opponent's mobile suits and then still damage their life, still hit their shield area. So that's a good one to know. Support is a keyword that lets you use that unit to then give attack power to another unit. So instead of attacking with that unit, you can use its support instead. You can usually turn it sideways in a lot of cases, and that'll give attack to another unit and make it more powerful. So if you need a bigger number in one attack versus 2 smaller number attacks, support can be a useful keyword. That's found in red a lot. We also have blocker, one of the most important keywords in the game. Blocker says you can turn the unit sideways. You can rest an active unit that has blocker to make it the new target of an attack. So for instance, if your opponent is attacking your shield area, you can take a unit with blocker, rest it, and then they have to attack that instead, which is either good to just soak an attack that would hurt your life, or to get them to attack into something that's going to hit them back, right, and potentially take out that unit. Now, the big thing to keep in mind is that blocker units, you're going to want to keep them active on your opponent's turn. You're not going to want to necessarily attack your opponent with those blockers, because if you do and they're already rested, well, then you can't rest them to use the blocker ability. So they need to be active. So keep that in mind. First strike is another combat ability. This simply means that the mobile suit with first strike does its damage before the other mobile suit does. So why that is important is, say you have a 4-3 for attack 3 health versus their 4-3. They have a 4 attack 3 health. You will do your 4 damage first to them, which will take out their mobile suit, and then they won't ever be able to be alive to hit you back, right? So first strike just a lot of times will let you take on a mobile suit without taking damage back. High maneuver is one we looked at with the Char Aznable pilot card already. Simply means if your unit has high maneuver, it can't be blocked. So your opponent can't rest their blocker units to stop that attack. So that is the basic keyword effects there. Then looking at some of the other keywords here, activate basically is an ability that happens at a certain point. To say it as simply as possible. Sometimes it's activate main, sometimes it's activate, it'll say activate and then when you can activate it, and then you will do a thing, basically. Burst is a keyword that basically says when that card is in your shields and it's flipped over by taking damage, you do the burst thing. Either it's play the card or put it in your hand or whatever. It'll tell you what to do. On deploy simply means when a unit is deployed, you do the thing that comes after deploy. Pretty easy. On attack, you do this extra special thing when you're attacking. Destroyed, you do a thing when you're destroyed. When paired and during paired. Now, this is an interesting one because I feel like there should also be a when linked and during link underneath here too. Once per turn, I don't need to explain that. It's in the title. But paired and linked, I think, is important to go over. So pairing a pilot to a mobile suit is playing any pilot on any mobile suit. That is called pairing. Linking is when you play the matching pilot to a mobile suit. So the difference between linking and pairing is important. A lot of keywords will say when paired or when linked. So if it says when linked, or during link, then that only works if you've got the appropriate pilot for the mobile suit. If it says when paired or during paired, then it can be any pilot on any mobile suit, right? But the difference between these two is when paired is something that happens during the event of putting a pilot on the mobile suit. Same goes for when linked. It's something that happens during the actual act of attaching the pilot. Whereas during pair or during link can be just an ongoing aura effect while that mobile suit has a pilot on it, right? Or maybe you get an extra ability, on attack while you have a mobile suit, while you have a pilot on the mobile suit. So during is an ongoing effect. When is a single time effect as the pilot is attached. That really trips up a lot of people, so it's important to know the designation between the two of them. And so, yeah, I just wanted to go over the keywords there with that. This frequently asked questions is just great. They've got a lot of information out there. A lot of questions that you have are going to be answered very quickly here. Hopefully this was just a good sort of, primer for the game itself. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. And again, please subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Hopefully this video was helpful to somebody out there. If it was, let me know. If not, well, then you probably already turned off anyway. Either way, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, everybody. Lots more Gundam stuff coming soon. I will say, though, I'm going to be gone from tomorrow, Wednesday, until next Monday, doing the Star Wars Unlimited Galactic Championship. So probably won't post anything during that period of time, but then next week we're going to hit it again hard with some assemble kit building. Finally, we're going to build and paint some model kits. It's going to be great. But thanks again for watching, everybody. See you next time.